Now this is something you're going to want to pay attention to. So on our 1970 Cuda BS27N0B, that means it's a real life Cuda. It means it's a 383 four-rail high-performance engine, made in Hamtramck. All convertibles were made in Hamtramck, Michigan. They didn't make any in the LA plant. So real Cuda in violet, good colors, 383 automatic. They made 132 of them, so it's not like they made a ton of them. They also didn't make one, but 132, by the time you break down the codes, the features, the options that it has, very good chance it's a one-of-one car. Before I go into the pieces on this car that I want to try to save versus the pieces that are going to have to be replaced and why I'm doing it, we don't usually get to see an original paint car like this, other than the outside of the quarter panels have been painted. But I mean, like the inner structure, that's the stuff that's kind of like gold for us old OE restoration guys to look at. I see that the car hasn't been wrecked because of the condition of the front end and the paint that's in the front end. I look at like this area here of the front frame rails on both sides. While that one has a little bit of rust on it, they haven't been swatted. And these cars, when they get hit, these always get crushed no matter what. If they're punched in the front, those things are manipulated. They are good, square, and straight. You'll see here on the core support, you can see the footprint of where the fender was. And then you can see here, this blacked out area that is kind of prevalent here, over here, all blacked out. You can see the purple coming through it. That was done on the assembly line. They wanted to black out and make sure you couldn't see purple. As a matter of fact, so you couldn't see any color of the body through the grille opening or underneath the bumper between the bumper and the lower valance. Same thing on the upper cowl. They didn't want you looking through the louvers in the hood and seeing purple paint or yellow paint. They didn't want you to be able to stand back when it was opened up and see purple paint. So this is blacked out, this is blacked out, and this is a good idea of the pattern. Even if you look right here, look at how terrible they did it. It's all the way down to here. We've seen it all over the place. Quality didn't seem to be an issue on the assembly line when they were painting these cowls. There are 3 colors that Chrysler had in 1970 that did not require blackout here or blackout here. F8 green, B7 blue, and black. Because those colors were dark enough, they didn't figure it was worth blacking out. On a black car, certainly not, but on the dark blue and the dark green, they thought they were dark enough that they didn't need to black out those cowl panels. Okay, let's take a look at the metal condition. Moving into the crucial things on an E-body when it comes to maintaining a numbers matching car. This does have the original numbers matching engine, and it has the original numbers matching transmission. It is a 383 Super Commando, and it's an automatic transmission. They built 132. That's all they made of 1970 Cudas with a 383 and an automatic. So it's a very low demographic, especially having the original numbers matching. Here are the last 8 characters of the vehicle identification number, which match your title, which match your fender tag, which match your dash VIN and the door sticker. These also have to match the upper cowl panel, and they do. You can clearly see 242, 288, 242, 288. So, cowl panel, radiator support, both started life on the car. All the inner structure started life on the car because it's original paint. You can't cheat that. All the spot welds are there. It's obvious. Unfortunately for this car, that is the end of the good news. After that, it's all bad news. This car is an East Coast car. It wasn't well kept. It wasn't preserved. When we're done with this car, we will have replaced the majority of the metal on it, but strategically. And because we are strategically doing this, and because we haven't done one quite like this before, and we've certainly never done a convertible like this, I wanted to take time and show you at home, for those of you who wonder how we save these cars, exactly what is involved and the type of premeditation, the type of forethought these cars have to have before you cut into them. You take a look at that inner fender over there, look at the shock tower, the top of the apron, look at the back edge where it meets the baffle that goes between the firewall and that. And the same thing over here. Take a look where the hinges mount. This is a real classic area for these things to rust. Up this, again, this area where the apron meets the baffle that connects to the cowl around the shock tower, this is all rotten. That's why you see that line right there, because Shane is going to be cutting that off right there. We got to get this car dipped, so we're trying to figure out how much metal do we want to take off of it before we have it dipped. So we know that in the end, we've got a couple of aprons. The frame rails don't look bad. If you stand back and you look, there's some problems on them, some problem areas, but they're very repairable at this point until it comes back from dipping. The firewall, however, is not. If you look at the firewall, we got big problems here around the master cylinder area, but a good portion of the upper cowl panel is savable. A good portion of it is. What we'll most likely do is put some small patches in here, maybe build this down here with a donor piece off of something out back, this small little area, so we can maintain this. We will have to put a firewall on it. You know, a common question we'll probably have is why bother, right? There's nothing left of the car. Is it a real Cuda still? Is it a real BS27 N-code car? Well, when you're dealing with a car that is this rusty, but it's also this rare, the name of the game here, just like with the Phantom Cuda, is full transparency. We're not pulling anything. We're not saying this is a granny car with no miles on it that was always mint condition. We're saying this thing was a mess, a hot mess. We're showing you how we restored it. We're not representing it as something it's not. We're saving key components that lend to the credibility of its originality, and they are savable parts. We're not fabricating it. These are savable parts. So that at the end of the day, we are able to save the car. Everybody knows how it was done, and you'll never recognize the before pictures of this car with the after pictures of it. That's the point of saving the car and showcasing it in our show. So as we take a look back towards the middle of the car, no real surprises here. If you look, all of the floor is rotted out. Rear step wells are rotted out. Under seat pan is rotted out. No matter how far back you go, it's got a lot of rust on this car. The rockers, you look at the outside, half the rockers are rotten, the other half is good. Quarter panels, outer wheelhouses, all rotten. How we're going to do this is we're gonna make some specific cuts on it so we can send it over and have it dipped. When it comes back, a lot of this stuff is gonna be new Autometal Direct sheet metal on it. Starting here forward, we'll cut out what we know for a fact we're not gonna use, send it out and have it dipped. When it comes back, we'll have our hands full. We're gonna have to do quarters, wheelhouses. The rear body panel, actually, oddly enough, is in pretty good shape, at least looking at it from this side. The trunk floor itself is garbage. This is the part that's unique convertible, this opening right here. Now here's something you need to know. If you were to go to AMD and look up a convertible quarter panel for your Cuda, they don't make them. They only make the full quarter panel. That goes all the way up to the sail where it meets the roof. So what we have to do is section the very key roof opening area around the Dutchman panel, the tops of the quarters. We've got to maintain that because what we're going to do is graft the quarter onto that. The new quarter is going to go onto that, get married together, but we're still going to have the original opening. In this case, it's not really rotten. There is some interstructure damage, but it's there for the most part. So what you see us doing is fabricating a way to make a full quarter panel that would go on a hardtop car work on the very, very rare convertible because nobody makes those parts. This wheelhouse cap, that's convertible only. This bar right here, convertible only. This inner structure here for the quarter glass, convertible only. You look down there and you'll see that it's rotten from the rocker panel up about 6 inches. We're gonna have to make those pieces. We'll probably be able to use similar pieces from a hardtop to be able to make them. The back of the car at a glance looks better than the rest of the car, only because the original Organosol black is on the back end of it. You can see where the footprint of the original emblem was. Remember, Cuda emblems were adhesive in 70. Where the Barracuda was a bolt-on emblem. We showed that on one of the previous cars that we worked on, the way you can tell that. Trunk gutters, a lot of trunk gutters rust. That's why we can buy them brand new, both sides. This one has a little bit of rust, but by the time you're replacing sections of that quarter, you may end up just wanting to replace the entire gutter. The rear body panel looks pretty good, but until it comes back from the dipper, number one. Number two is, what do you have to do underneath it? Even though this panel may be good, if we have to do frame rails, which we do, I can see that right now, that means you're gonna have to do this rear cross member right here. If you do the cross member, you might as well do the body panel because they overlap each other. So what we'll end up doing from here is getting the pieces cut off that we know are gonna have to be replaced. A rear clip, a cowl and windshield, and a front upper tie bar. That's what we are starting with. We have an idea now what we want to do, but when it comes back from the dipper, it could be a completely different thing. The whole game could change. We may be replacing parts that I'm telling you right now we can save. We may be saving parts that I'm saying we can't save. But that's one of 132 cars, folks. So you make every effort in the world you can to preserve it and keep it as original as humanly possible. Listen, none of us know exactly what leads up to a car getting like this or becoming abandoned or neglected. It's an East Coast car, so they salt the roads. If you're on the coast, you've got all the salt water. But steps could have been made to preserve it along the way. But let's face another thing. In the 70s, when a lot of these cars got parked, we didn't know they were going to be worth a fortune someday. If we did, we would have preserved them differently. At the end of the day, the car is completely cut apart. What you see left is what we have left. Upper tie bar, cowl and firewall, rockers, which we won't be using, but they establish the length of the car, and the rear body. Basically, a little bit of chassis and a little bit of body. Set those together like a little model car. So now when you look at this, it makes a lot more sense. These are the parts that we're saving, why we're saving them, and then next time you see the car, they'll be back from the dipper. We'll show you the parts, what they look like, where we're putting them on, and we'll start building this a convertible 70 Cuda 383 automatic, one of only 132 ever made. Hello ghouls, Mark Warman here, the ice tray from Graveyard Carz. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, drop a comment down below, and subscribe to our channel. We have fantastic stuff coming up, and some of it you've never seen before. I gotta go insult people. Hey, Alice!